Good morning, you guys. I'm not going to be on here too long, but the conversation I had with the twins this morning definitely triggered me to come on here and make sure all of us parents are talking to our kids about these things. There was a school shooting, I believe, not even, was it even 2 weeks ago now? Let me put on my daggone seatbelt, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, this morning while I was getting the twins ready to go. We have our little morning routine and whatnot. And I was making their bags, and one of the twins alluded to a fire drill. And she was like, Mom, I was scared. And I was like, oh, you guys are practicing for a fire drill. And, we were having the conversation about that. I was like, they just want to make sure you know what your options are in case there's a fire. But then the other twin was like, well, they said the person might have a gun. And then that's when I realized that they were, doing drills or just troubleshooting, or at least, bringing up the topic with them, what they could do during those situations. First of all, I just felt like it's really fucked up that, we have to have these type of conversations with our children because of these sick fucks. But it's better that you have the conversation because you just don't know, especially the younger the child is, the way that their mind might process things, and they don't know any better. So you really do have to, start planting those seeds in their minds early, not for them to be afraid, but for them to know how to have self-preservation and protect themselves and make, the best decisions in these type of situations. So that would require you to just, think about different things that could happen. So while we were talking about it, I definitely asked them in their school, I was like, where do you think a good place to hide is? Because that was the first thing that I definitely told them to do. I said, quietly hide. Don't yell, don't scream, don't stomp. I said, when you move and you're walking, run on your toes, um, quietly. And then basically after that point, I'm like, where are some good places to hide? And they were saying the bathroom, because, in their classroom, it's like a private bathroom, not like a big bathroom stall that you would go in. I was like, okay, yeah, that could be an option. That could be an option to hide there quietly. And I talked about perhaps under the teacher's desk, depend if her desk has the way the desk is covered all the way in the front. I'm like, you might be able to do that as well. So we went over some options for them. And I'm glad that I had the conversation because one of the twins who's pretty feisty, both of them are feisty, honestly. But definitely one of them is even more feistier when it comes to a certain thing. She was like, well, I want to scare them back. And I definitely was like, do not try to be a hero. Like, just save yourself at that point. And then, the rational aspect of, well, if you try to scare them, they have a gun, sweetie. They have a gun. So it's definitely, this is the world that we live in today. And personally, I have a license to carry, you know, for that reason. For that reason, I have a license to carry. And I want somebody, I don't want it, but point blank period, somebody get buck wild around me, they're going to regret it. They're going to regret it. They're going to regret it. And this is one of the things, honestly, that we could parlay into a talk about safety with domestic violence and whatnot, because a lot of women underestimate their abusers a lot of times. And then by the time they find out the full capability of this person, you know, they're in a situation where they're getting harmed in an extreme manner and possibly losing their life. So I'm not going to mix these topics right now, but definitely have these conversations with your kids, see where their minds are. The whole idea is we don't want them to be fearful per se, but just understanding that, in the event that we talked about these things, you know, and check with your school and make sure that they are going over these type of procedures. They should be setting this stuff in place. Ask what they're doing. you know I know that my school, of course, most schools have to be buzzed in at this time, and my school was already like that anyway. And or is the security guards armed? How many of them? Like, find out what the school, find out what the procedure is, you know because whatever the twins are telling me, it's from the a children's mind. Who knows if they really grasp it or understand it. I don't expect them to explain it to me like an adult could, so that you can know even what they are teaching the kids. And I'm surprised the school didn't reach out to notify me. Like, usually the schools will reach out, like, we're going over this, this is our procedures. Unless I miss something, I'm going to look in their book bag today, but I can reach out to their teachers as well. Usually they will definitely notify you about these things, but it's definitely important. They need to understand. They definitely need to understand what their options are and the best way to go about things. So, and even if your child is older, period, if your child is school age, you should be talking to them about these school shootings and not, trying to shelter them from realities that are, becoming way too frequent, especially here in America. So with that being said, you guys, I'm going to hop off of here, but you have to be the first one. As a matter of fact, you should be the first one telling your kids about all types of things, not just the good things. As parents, we want to shelter our kids, but that can be to their detriment for sure. It's not nice and pleasant for them to have to think about these things, but you know what? It's going to be even more not nice and pleasant for them to be put possibly, in a circumference or have to experience something in a lifetime and be completely caught off guard, because honestly, it's scary enough to know about it and experience than to not have any exposure to things and experience them, you know? And that's a whole nother thing, because when we're in those type of scary situations where we will fight, flight, and freeze, and you don't know how they're really going to behave when that happens, but it helps to at least talk about it and doing those drills. All right. And this same thing could go for home invasions and fires. These things just don't happen at schools. So, and especially on a channel like this, where you guys have been in sticky situations and dealt with nefarious type of people, you have to keep, like, don't keep them in the dark. Like, if I stop fucking with someone, my kids know they're not going to be caught off guard because I keep them out of adult business. No, they need to know, hey, I don't talk to this person. If this person tries to come near you, say, help, no, leave. Make it clear to them, that so that they can maintain those boundaries as well. Because sometimes people, if they can't get to you, they damn sure would try to get to your kids or somebody else. So that's when it's good to not just, keep all this stuff bottled in. When you're cutting people out of your life, when you're making boundaries, whatever, update paperwork at your school. No, this person is not allowed to pick up my kid anymore. Or this, whatever the situation is, you need to make sure you cover all the angles, but you damn sure make sure your kids know, block their numbers on their phones, like, let them know and put up the safeguards so that the boundaries can be maintained. All right. All right, you guys. And then I also, with the role playing, with everything. When we talked about the school shootings, when I did that this morning with the twins, I tried to think of everything. I was like, what if the person says, I'm not going to hurt you, just come out? I let them know, people will trick you. They'll say this and that. I'm your friend, da 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 da. Like, I went over these things with them. I went over these things with them. So make sure you just try to think of all types of angles and keep your kids, armed with their emotional maturity. And I do. I talk to my kids about all types of stuff. And then as they get older, I'm reinforcing it more and more. And then, I might even, be able to get more and more sophisticated with things depending on the age. I try to make it as age appropriate as possible. But, at a certain point with this type of world, it's like, well, in the perfect world, this wasn't age appropriate for them to have to even be concerned with, right? But it is what it is. It really is what it is. And it's better that you get to them and not the predator. It's better that you arm them and not a predator catching them off guard, giving them candies or with a puppy or with ice cream. Because kids, it's just, they still love these things, balloons, you know? Kids are simple. They're very simple. They need to understand that doesn't make someone their friend. So this is just a good time to just talk about all types of safety and strangers and all types of stuff. You guys, don't take it for granted that your kid knows better, because they don't. They have to be taught. They have to learn these things. All right. And some kids, especially the ones that are way more, your child is very social and friendly and lovable and tries to help strangers and don't want to hurt a fly. Those are the kids you really got to talk to the most. you know all right, now you have to know your kid, but all kids got to be talked to, period. But I'm just saying. All right, you guys, you know God bless you all, but we have to, you know keep our kids informed. Pray for your kids, pray for yourself, stay prayed up, and definitely keep yourself protected as best as you can. All right. Um, I think I will come on in a little bit and talk about, the domestic violence. I want to revisit that topic. And I wanted to do this a while ago, maybe 6 to 8 months ago. So keep an eye out on the channel. I'm going to come back on here maybe around lunchtime. I'm going to come back on here and talk to you guys more about keeping ourselves safe in domestic violence situations, because I'm sick to my stomach in all the situations where these women are getting, you know, unalived and battered on a high ass level because they did not take the proper precautions, because they did not they underestimated their abuser. Okay. All right. With that being said, you guys take care, and I will be talking to you soon. All right.